Hey, can you put that down? I know it's real time, and I know it's a game that, I don't play, but you enjoy a bunch. And I know you played a lot of it, but you need to kind of stop. Just put it away.
Fine.
And scene. Hey everybody, welcome to another Low on Health year-end review. This is for the games that I played in 2020. The reason why I started doing this stupid stuff so I could just keep track of what I did each year. And I like to play video games, and I play a lot of video games. I'm Jimmy. That's Rose.
Hello.
I want to say, just like everything else that happened in 2020, we had a lot of time on our hands.
Extra.
Lots of time. So as you can imagine, everything we did more of. TV, anime, movies, games, a bunch of stuff. So, of course, this year is no different. The main thing with this year is I was almost exclusively using Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate, which includes Xbox Live now, just Xbox, and with Games of Gold and Game Pass, so I was able to play a lot of video games because I had the time.
You did Gamefly for just a little while.
Yeah, towards the end, which I'll get to. But to start this ball rolling, because it's going to take a while, we're just going to go over the top 10 real quick.
And I remember every single one of the top 10 games you played.
So here we go. So in 2020, I played 295 games. Well,
Have you ever played that many?
I've
in
never
1 year before?
played that many, and I really struggled. I'm just trying to find some stupid games to get to 300, but I just wanted to keep that to be like my white whale. Keep in mind, 295 games. That doesn't mean I played each one of those to completion or did everything in them or got to the credits.
Or even played them without cheating on in some cases.
But the idea is I at least played them for an hour or two, maybe got 100 achievements, got to a certain point where it was like the achievement return on investment, or ARI that I call it, just doesn't become useful to me. I need to move on to another game. Out of those, 226 of them were Game Pass. So that's a lot of games that I played through Game Pass.
Game Pass is a incredibly great deal.
And that's also this
Sponsor.
year in November, EA Access got added to Game Pass, so that added a bunch of games to it. And in 2021, Bethesda added a bunch of games, so that was fun. And who knows where that's going to go.
We don't have any sponsors.
61 of those games were games with gold, so that's a lot of your older games that you kind of get for free from the service.
And a lot of the games... Oh, wait. Does that include games that you've played before, but they had a different SKU?
It comes down to the replays. We'll get there.
Okay, so the
61
the
games
replays do count.
with
All right.
gold. 5 of the games were just Windows games that I played that had usually... Some of them had achievements. 2 games were from Gamefly. Towards the end of the year, Gamefly was like, hey, we know you haven't used us in over a year. For $1, do you want to use us for a month? And I'm like,
Sure.
I could get through like 2 or 3 games within a month easily. So I paid $1 for Gamefly. I got four games from them, played and beat them, and that was great. I think I got to play 2 at the end of 2020 and 2 in 2021. One game I technically bought, and we'll get to that when I get to that game. And then a breakdown. So yeah, 76 of those games that I played out of the 295 were replays. So they were either new SKUs or like the PC version of them or an updated Xbox One version of them.
Which means you could get the achievements for them again.
Yeah, and I kind of knew, and a lot of guides were out for them. 26 of them were actually 360 games. Most of those came through Game Pass or Games of Gold. So it was kind of interesting to go back and play through stuff that's lower res. Some of it was good, some of it bad. And about 71 of those games were PC games because I luckily still have a PC rig. I mean, some games I'd play them on Xbox and then immediately go play them on PC, so everything would be fresh in my mind. It was always fun too because on PC I just lower all the settings because it doesn't need to look great, it just needs to get through the game fast enough. I did that with the Yakuzas. I think I played 6 of the Yakuza games last year. Nonetheless, my number 1 of last year was Inkenfell, which don't know the best way to describe it as opposed to an 8-bit turn-based just game.
Yeah.
But like the story and characters just blew me away. Like as we all kind of know, video game wise, I care a lot more about the story.
It had really good music too.
So that and once again, Ekenfell, no idea what the game was, what was it about. Just one of those free games, played it, loved it. Same thing with Coffee Talk. A lot of these games I was not anticipating playing, but then being able to play them and just getting blown away by the story. And Coffee Talk and Ekenfell, they're both like 8-bit basic games, not really complex at all.
Well, Coffee Talk is more...
You mix drinks and make sure you get the right drink to people depending on their mood.
Yeah, I don't know how to do... I'm sure there's a description for that type of game, but like it's not the same type of game as Ink and Fell.
No. But like,
The art style is 8-bit, but you can do a lot with 8-bit.
Tell Me Why, which I'm just gonna start calling all these games Life is Strange games. So this is like Life is Strange 4.
Yeah.
Because it's by Don't Nod, the same company that did it. Just a very good, awesome characters and story that I love.
The story is very good.
Haven, which once again, not a game I knew about the game, not a game I was looking forward to playing or even expected to play. But then surprise things just come to Game Pass, and you're like, cool.
I liked that game. It was so pretty,
The
and I like the characters. They were very entertaining.
They were very entertaining and seemed really just like grounded in reality, like an actual relationship.
They seemed like real people.
The next game is Nier Automata, which has been out for a while, and I finally was able to play it. And I love the idea that you can kind of cheat at the game or autoplay the game, like the game gives you that function. Ink and Fell also gave you that function, just kind of autoplay the game and just enjoy the story. And that makes the game so much more accessible, and I really like the accessibility.
Accessibility options
which
are
is
very nice.
My excuse for I don't have to worry about actually getting good at the game or having skill to play through the games.
And it all depends on how you want to play a game, too. It's like, what do you want out of a game? Do you want it to challenge you? Do you just want to enjoy the story and the graphics? It's like oh, you didn't play it legit. If I played it and I enjoyed it, get out of here with your judgment.
Is it just one step more interactive than just watching YouTube like replays of it? Yes, but I still enjoy it, and Nier Automata is just a great game. It gets all the praise it deserves. Jedi Fallen Order, which is a game that I was like, okay, whatever. It's your classic adventure, kind of Metrovania type of game. Solid. Call of the Sea, once again, most of these games came from Game Pass or EA. Decent, solid little like story. Once again, it's kind of like your classic walking sim puzzle game.
It was Cthulhu-ish, just a skosh.
Just a skosh. Lovecraftian.
Dang.
Journey to Savage Planet, which is just another stupid game where you
that
can just...
is funny.
It's funny. It's like the humor and the storytelling is very just fun.
Especially because you get to pick your character at the beginning, and like we were both just jokingly like, you should play the dog, and you play the dog, and so his character never spoke, just barked.
But it's just a really
very funny.
Solid game. Minecraft Dungeons, I've played a lot of, surprisingly. I didn't expect to get that into it.
Yeah, you did. You played a lot of that. I think you played with Marcus a bit on that too,
I did, and my nephew a little bit. The idea is I consider it like baby's, not calling him a baby, but like a baby's first Diablo. Like essentially, like it's the first kind of like Diablo-ish game that's very accessible to kids.
A dungeon crawler, yeah. It's a dungeon crawler. Tetris was awesome.
Yeah, and Tetris Connect. It's Tetris, but
I love Tetris.
I think this version has been out on PlayStation for a while, but it coming to Xbox means I get to play it.
I played some of it,
and it's just fun. Like it's like got that just music rhythm to it, like kind of Luminous did, and I just love that type of style. So yeah, that's my top 10, but that's the top 10 out of 295. So that's like not even like 10%. It's less than 10% easily. Do the math. So we're going to go over the long list in a classic Excel file, which we all know I love so much. You can see the games, and I actually have them grouped by class to a certain degree and rating. So class, you can see blue is just Game Pass, which also has -EA if it's from EA. Red is with gold. Any purplish one or violet or lavender, that's a replay. So we can see here Ink and Fell. Now, I did replay Final Fantasy VII, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Vampire, Outer Worlds, games I gave high ratings to, but they're replays. But if they were the first time I played them, they would have been in my top 10 as they were in the top 10 back then. But I love being able to replay those games. I mean, even Grand Theft Auto 5 is here, and Metal Gear. Like, we all know these are games that are top tier. Saints Row, like, all these games are top tier games. But they're replays for me. The one game here, this is the one that I bought, which the only game I bought last year, was Cyberpunk, because we were super hyped for it. It got delayed a bunch of times. I was taking time off for it, which didn't work out. I had to keep taking time off for it. Pre-ordered the game, got the game, made my console think I was in New Zealand, started playing the game 12 hours early, beat it within 26 hours, and I took like 4 days off to play it. Luckily, the EA stuff was out, so I was able to get caught up with that. I also played it on the Xbox Series X, which was kind of like one of the better systems to play it on that was made it actually playable as opposed to a high-end PC. But I didn't really enjoy it. I don't think it really met the standard.
I don't think anybody
So when they first
really.
were saying we're offering refunds, I tried Xbox, was like, no. I'm like, okay, that's fair. I played the game for 26 hours. I beat it. I got the achievements I wanted. I'll come back to it whenever. But then once the company was like, yeah, we screwed up, blanket returns, I said, hey, Xbox, can I get a return on it? And they're like, yes, you can. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do that. Even though I played the game, I would never say I was satisfied with it. You can eat a meal but not be satisfied with it, but it can still sate your hunger. So I didn't feel too bad doing that, especially how CD Projekt Red handled the whole situation. I didn't find too well. So I bought it, but then it didn't really matter because I got a refund for it. But I did play that.
I can't believe you can't even change your appearance during the game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It was very disappointing for so many reasons that other people have gone over much more in depth.
So we have a bunch of other games here. A lot of the Yakuza games came to the service, so I played those. All the Kingdom Hearts games are also on Game Pass now, so I replayed those. There's just so much content here. I'm just scrolling by, seeing what just jumps out at me, but there's just too much. But a lot of replays, like I said, 76 replay.
Trying to think if there are any games that you played that stick out to me.
A lot of Walking Sim Shenmue, that was a replay. It was even a replay of a replay, I think. Fable, which was kind of like a 360, the Fable Anniversary.
Oh my god, Fable looks awful now.
Yeah, it definitely shows, because that was like almost like a first-gen 360.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. Just scrolling down through here, like seeing what was there. Now, I will say, a lot of these games, actually more in 2021. I'll probably go over it more in 2021 then. What else we got here? Dead Rising, Rage, Full Throttle. Once again, a lot of replays. Phantasy Star Online, that's a game that I played with Marcus. They also were using Game Pass, so we did a lot of coordination with like multiplayer games. So much stuff, but nothing really notable. As I mentioned, TV was like our hallmark. So it's kind of weird that I played all these games, but necessarily enjoyed a lot of them. Like, as you can see, I write meh or achievement farmed, which a lot of these are kind of like
you're like, you get like 100 achievement points, and then you're like, and we're done.
And then some games it's not even worth getting them.
I know there were some weekends where you were like, how many games did I play? And I'm like, I don't know, 8?
And because EA got added their service to it, so I played a lot of like the sports games. So that's why you see a lot of these like FIFA and Maddens. Like, here's a whole chunk of them that I played. And once again, didn't play through completion, played until I could get as many achievement points, and then move on. It was funny kind of playing like the old school like PopCap, because those are EA, like your Peggle and Bejeweled and Feeding Frenzy. That was kind of interesting going back and playing through all of them. Ironically, if you look here, a lot of my lower rated games are like the games of gold, which is kind of funny because they've definitely milked that service too much. It's not going to probably be around too long. But yeah, I'm just, once again, as we get lower, there's nothing really that jumps out because it's not that great. But it was just a very jam-packed year for gaming, in which case, like, a couple times I would get caught up with my gaming back catalog, which is very rare. I'm actually at that point right now, too. But yeah, that's it for games. I'm not even going to recommend games for people to play because nobody really does that anymore. People are just playing Fortnite or playing with their running crews, which is fine. I learned a long time ago that people don't play video games as much as me. We can say, though, we'll get to this in the life events one, but Rose did play Animal Crossing this year. We'll explain more about that. But what would you say about Animal Crossing? Because that's your first Animal Crossing game, correct?
Yeah.
And what do you think drove you to play Animal Crossing? Everybody else playing it, nothing else to do, killing the time for COVID.
Yeah.
All those things, yeah.
All the above.
And it's a good game.
It's really, yeah.
There's a reason why it's so popular, and reason why you are still actively playing it roughly a year later.
Yeah.
No,
it's more than a year later.
So we all know I'm not doing that at all. I barely give a game a week after it comes out.
I hyper focus on games. It's like I'll play a game and then like this is the game that I'm playing for months.
But I will say, like, that's one game that a lot of people played. But
yes.
That's going to be it for the gaming of the year. Once again, I played a lot, but not that many good games. But luckily, I played a lot of replays, so maybe that's why I don't think it was like a bad year in gaming. Because technically, I played a lot of like replays that were like 8 and more. So I think that's why it was still entertaining and refreshing and nice and okay for me. It wasn't too grating. Sometimes it could get. But as always, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll catch you next time.